That was interesting. The Green Bay Packers somehow, some way, get out of Dallas with a tie. I don't. I'm not really entirely. I'm not entirely sure what I just watched. That was probably one of the most frustrating, irritating, fun game I've ever seen. I'm so confused by a lot of what happened tonight. I was just watching, and I guess I'll open with this. I was just watching the Matt LaFleur's post-game press conference, and he said obviously the play calls sucked and they were bad, something to that effect, and all I have to say to that is no shit. No shit. Play calling tonight by far was probably one of the most irritating things, especially on that last drive in overtime. I don't understand how Emmanuel Wilson gets the ball, gets tackled, 22 seconds left, and then you just let the clock run and get down to 6 seconds and then throw the ball into the end zone. And then by only the grace of God himself, there's 1 second left. And you're able to kick a field goal to tie and tie the game. I don't understand. That was just horrific play calling. Horrific play calling all night. Weird runs, running the ball when you should have passed, not going for it, playing too conservatively. Like near the end of the game, just go for the kill shot. Just go for the kill shot. Why not? Why not? Why not even just try to go for the kill shot? I don't. This team frustrates me. I love them so much, but they frustrate me so much. Oh, let's just get into the stats. On the good side of it, for the most part, the Packers offense played excellent tonight. Jordan Love was excellent outside of a fumble. He was 31 for 43, 337 yards, and 3 touchdown passes, and 1 fumble, which was the fumble near the end of the second quarter when the Packers began to fall apart. So that wasn't good. It's somehow that the Packers were able to shoot themselves in the foot enough to make this a game. Nobody beats the 2025 Packers better than the 2025 Packers. That's just the fact of the matter. They were dominating for the first 25 minutes of this game. They had Dallas in check. They outgained them 149 yards to 22 or 26 in the first quarter. They dominated them, and then they did the same thing that they did in Cleveland. Only they did it at the end of the half instead of the end of the game, which against that works. It works out, but it's frustrating. It was just frustrating. But anyway, Jordan played great. Outside of the fumble, Jordan played great. Josh Jacobs, he had 22 attempts for 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. A lot of big runs by him tonight. Emmanuel Wilson ran the ball really, really well tonight. Leading receiver was Josh Jacobs. 4 receptions, 71 yards. But the main focus of the Packers offense tonight was easily Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs is so reliable, it's insane. He had 6 receptions, 58 yards, and 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns. He was definitely Mr. Reliable tonight. Matthew Golden, he had 5 receptions for 58 yards. He had a good clutch catch on 4th and 6 late in overtime. Unfortunately, we're still waiting for that first touchdown from him. Tucker Kraft, he had 56 yards. Overall, the Packers wide receivers did well tonight. They did. Running was well tonight. The offense, for the most part, did pretty well. They were able to put up 40 points. The main problem was the defense. We'll just get the stats quick and then we'll talk about it. Quay Walker led the team with 6 tackles. Micah Parsons did have a sack. It was a touchdown-saving sack in overtime, so that was great. And that's really the only stats I have for the defense. The secondary tonight was just awful. They were just awful. Keyshawn had one good pass block early in the game, and that was pretty much it. Carrington Valentine let way too many passes, way too many catches. Keyshawn, way too many catches. I mean, there was a point I was watching, and Keyshawn was like 10 yards off the receiver. And I'm like, oh, look, Dak's going to throw the ball to the guy for an easy first down. Up, there it is. The secondary was just, they did not play well tonight. And the special teams was horrendous tonight. Another field goal block, or it was an extra point block that Dallas blocked it and was able to return it and get 2 points out of it, which ended up leading to a tie game. Instead of the Packers kicking a field goal for the win, they were kicking it to tie the game. Just really frustrating tonight. It was really frustrating all over the place. 5 offensive line penalties, I think. 5 or 6, I believe it was 5. Just false starts, and it's just stuff that shouldn't be happening. And I get that it's difficult with Zach Tom out, Banks was out, Belton was out. I get it. You're down your top 2 offensive linemen and one of your secondary guys, or second line guys. But just a lot of frustration tonight. The Packers could have easily won this game. They easily could have won this game. But they could have won this game in the first half, and it could have been over already. But the defense was poor tonight. The secondary was bad. The pass rush wasn't there a couple of times. And we could talk about the refs. I don't really want to, because we don't want to blame it on the refs, but the refs missed a lot of blatant holds tonight. I think Micah Parsons was being held or choked out like 75-80% of the time. They would show replay and there's this Micah Parsons getting choked out and the refs say nothing. And it just, again, I'm not blaming the refs at all for that. I'm not. It's difficult to watch because you want the refs and the officiating to be consistent, and they're not consistent. And that's just, it's so frustrating. Because the Packers probably should have had 5 or 6 sacks tonight, and they didn't because they were being held. And it was so blatantly obvious that you would think that the refs would call at least one of them. But even when Micah was in Dallas, he wasn't getting called for hold, or he wasn't getting holds called on him anyway. So I guess, whatever. I guess it's the same deal. Devontae Wyatt got hurt during this game too. I don't know the extent of his injury just yet. I know Josh Jacobs was a little shook up. He had a cut under his knee. Micah also went into the tent at some point, and he seemed pretty frustrated by some of his lower back, I think. Nate Hobbs also, I think, was out of the game for a couple plays for just checking concussion protocol. Let's quickly get into the stats for Dallas. Now, I want to point this out. I talked to a lot of my friends before this game, and they all were saying that, the Packers should blow out Dallas. Okay, fine. But Dallas is good. I don't understand why people think Dallas sucks. I don't like Dallas, but they're good. Dak Prescott, in my opinion, has been a top 10 quarterback for years, and I don't understand why some people always count him out. He balled out today. He was 31 for 40, 314 yards and 3 touchdowns as well. He balled out tonight. He made the plays when he needed to. Late in that game, Cowboys were able to march right down the field after Turpin brought it all the way up to the 50, and they were boom, 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 touchdown. Dak Prescott is clutch. He has been. He's a good quarterback. I've always thought Dak Prescott was a good quarterback. Javonte Williams, he had 65 yards and a touchdown. Javonte Williams seems to be having some sort of resurgence in Dallas, which is good. Good for him. George Pickens was nuts tonight. Just absolutely nuts. That catch near the sideline in the first half was just nasty. Just nasty. I think Hobbs or Nixon and Evan Williams it was like double coverage, and he caught it. Was just nasty. It was a nasty catch. He had 8 receptions, 134 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Pickens was nasty tonight. I think he's still pretty good. He's having some sort of really good resurgence in Dallas as well. Ferguson also had the other touchdown. He's a stud. Tolbert had just another toe-tapping nasty catch where Prescott just kind of like whipped it along down just across the field and just caught it. And here's Keyshawn just standing all the way in the back of the end zone, like standing there. Which, again, goes out to the secondary. Carrington did it, too. Where it was like a 3rd and whatever, a 4th and whatever. And, like, the Dallas receiver makes the catch right on the sideline. And Carrington's just standing there like 5, 6, 7, 8 yards off him. Like, whatever. Again, whatever. Secondary was awful tonight. They were just bad. Aubrey, he was clutch. He had 1 for 1, 22 yards. He had all his extra points. And Turpin, I think this is something with the special teams that's so frustrating. And it has been for years. Turpin had 175 return yards. 175. And in overtime brought it all the way up to the 50, and Dallas was able to dig in it right away. Like what are we doing here? The special teams is so frustrating. And as Packer fans, we complain about it all the time. And I get that, like, they paid Rich Bisaccia all this money. And I'm really not the type of Packer type of fan that just sit there and be like, oh, fire him. But something's got to be done with Bisaccia, because this has been years now. And the special teams still struggles, and it loses us games. This game we didn't lose because of it, but there's a tie because of it. And not only because of the special teams, but also the defense. But it's so frustrating. If you don't have that extra point block, the Packers win this game. Easy. McManus, at the end of regulation, is kicking to win, not to put it into overtime. And also the play calling. The play calling. That's enough of this chat. The play calling, like, especially, like, in overtime, like, what are we doing? Like, I get Matt LaFleur wants to play safe and conservative, and he's a professional head coach. I'm just a guy who sits on the couch and watches the Packers. Okay, I'm not claiming to know any more than Matt LaFleur. I'm not claiming to know football, but I'm not. I wish that we would just have some balls. Just be like Slime Daddy Dan Campbell and go for the kill shot. I mean, you know Jordan can do it. Go for the kill shot. You have weapons. Go for the kill shot. Just do it. But it just playing conservative, and that drive in overtime, I already talked about it, but Emmanuel Wilson, there's 22 seconds left. 22 seconds left. You could run back to the line and quick hide the ball and hit it and throw it to the ground or whatever. For some reason, I'm blanking on what it's called. Get it, just throw it down, stop the clock, and go. And you have like one or two. You can go for the kill shot 1 or 2 times before you have to kick a field goal. Except we're sitting there and the clock's running and we're getting up to the line and still waiting. 6 seconds left. Jordan snaps the ball and then throws it and hits one of the Dallas defenders in the back. I mean, like, he was going for Romeo, but it just. And again, I wouldn't be complaining about it. If Romeo caught that ball and the Packers win, I'm not complaining about it. But I'm complaining about it because it didn't work, and there was only 1 second left on the clock. You one more second, the Packers lose that game. They lose this game. It's just insane to me. Why would you run a play there and not just like clock the ball or like, what are we doing? So I did not like that. I did not like that at all. Just did not like that at all. We're looking at time of possession. Pretty similar. Packers had it for 35 minutes. A little over 35 minutes. Dallas had it for 34 minutes. The Packers had 32 first downs compared to Dallas's 26. Third down conversions, the Packers were 10 for 14, which is good. And Dallas was 4 of 11. That's a big difference. Red zone efficiency, Packers were 5 for 6, and Dallas were 4 for 5. penalties, Packers had 7 penalties for 53 yards, and Dallas had 11 for 95. It's just the O-line struggled tonight. Jordan was under a lot of pressure. Seemed to struggle to get rid of the ball. There was one he was sacked. The play, there was a penalty on Dallas, luckily enough for the Packers, but Jordan just needs to get rid of the ball. A note here that the reffing was bad. We already talked about that. The reffing is bad. I think the reffing is bad in every single NFL game. I don't think the officiating turned this game at all. I think this game still ends 40-40 with or without him. The secondary is bad. The pass rush didn't get there. Luckily, Micah Parsons had a game-saving sack. Had he not sacked Dak would have ran in for a touchdown. So just a lot of frustration tonight. Injuries piling up. Just a lot of frustration tonight. But it was a shootout. It was a good game. I'm upset we didn't win, but I'm also happy we didn't lose. So I guess that's a positive. I did not think this was. If you were going to tell me that this would have been a tie game, 40-40, I would have said, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I picked the Packers to win, and I think on paper it looked like the Packers probably should have won like 28-17 or something, but that's the way it is. You take it, look at the film, move on to get it in the bye week, extra week to help with the injuries and let everybody recover, I guess. So I'm not a fan of these early buys, but I think this year I'll take it. I think the Packers need it. I think with a good, competent O-line, I think the Packers do a lot better tonight. But Dallas played very well. This isn't. I don't want to take anything away from Dallas. Dallas played very, very well tonight. They were coached very well tonight. The Packers just shot themselves in the foot way too much tonight, and it ended up costing them a win. So going into next week, the Packers, like I said, they'll be in a bye. They'll come out of the bye and they'll play the Bengals at home, the Joe Burrow-less Bengals. So we'll see how that goes. Dallas now 1-2-1 will play the 0-3 Jets. Jets play tomorrow night. I believe, they play tomorrow night against Miami in Miami. So that'll be fun to watch. Also, the Bengals and Broncos are tomorrow too, but that's irrelevant to the Packers. But so frustrating night in Dallas, but a fun one. Shootouts are fun. But the Packers like last week, they should have won this game. This shouldn't have been a tie. This should have been a win for the Packers. But they get out of it with a tie. So all that aside, I guess we move on to the bye week. Hope everybody has a good night. Go Pack, go.